Good evening. I'm Mike Bush. Kelly Jackson has the night off. It took the jury just over 3 hours to find Daniel Riley guilty for the horrific crash that left Janae Edmondson, a once promising volleyball player, relearning how to walk on prosthetic legs. Riley was convicted of 2 felonies and 1 misdemeanor charge, and about an hour ago, that same jury recommended a sentence of nearly 19 years in prison. We have live team coverage tonight on today's emotional testimony and how this case altered the circuit attorney's office in St. Louis. Let's start with Laura Barczewski, who was in the courtroom throughout the afternoon and evening for the verdict and sentencing phase. Laura.
Mike, the jury found Daniel Riley guilty on 4 of 5 counts, and Riley's family was visibly upset and in tears as this verdict was read, and one of his supporters actually had to leave the courtroom. It was really hard to see Riley's expression as this was happening because he was wearing a mask. The Edmondsons, however, tell me they were very stressed waiting for this verdict, but relieved with the result. Janae Edmondson and her family got one last chance to speak to the jury before they headed back to deliberate a sentence for Daniel Riley. Janae's 3 siblings could not be here Thursday, but prosecutors read their joint statement saying they're still heartbroken over the crash that changed their lives.
If you had asked us 1 year ago if we had anything to be grateful for, we would have said no. But today we stand together eternally grateful that Janae is still alive. We are grateful that our dad was able to utilize his military training to save her. We're grateful that Janae found the strength to adapt to her new life.
And while she's adapting, her mom, Francine, says nothing will be easy for Janae ever again and had one plea for the jury.
When we were in St. Louis at the hospital, after she had just first woke up, she said to me that day, "Mom, please make sure he doesn't get out. Don't let him do this to anyone else."
Janae herself was in tears as she spoke to the jury one last time, explaining how she can no longer do the simple things like walk or shower standing up.
I wake up in the morning every day and I'm immediately reminded of what happened. And I never want anyone to experience the pain, the sadness, and the helplessness I felt. But one positive I have gained from this journey is my faith in Jesus.
The Edmondsons all asked the jury for the maximum prison sentence they could provide, but her father, James, says nothing will ever be enough for him.
He will still be able to walk, even after the time that you guys in the court gives him. He'll be able to run, he'll be able to bend, he'll be able to do all those things. My daughter will not.
Daniel Riley and his attorneys declined to make a final statement, and the jury again recommended nearly 19 years in prison. Now it's up to the judge to make the final decision, which is scheduled for April 18th. The judge did give the defense an additional 10 days to file their appeal, and Riley was able to hug his mom before the deputies led him away. Reporting live downtown, Laura Barczewski, 5 on your side.
Within the hour, St. Louis Circuit Attorney Gabe Gore released a statement reacting to the verdict and the sentencing recommendation. Gore says Daniel Riley showed complete disregard for human life in the decisions he made to get behind the wheel of a car without a driver's license and recklessly ignore the speed limit and traffic signs. His choices had catastrophic consequences for Janae Edmondson and her family. While this verdict will not restore their loss, it will hold Riley accountable. Gore has scheduled a news conference for tomorrow morning. Prior to handing down a sentence, the jury heard Janae Edmondson speak publicly for the first time. She and her mother discussed the moments that led to the crash and how her father stepped in to help. 5 on your side's Brent Solomon continues our team coverage with their emotional testimony.
Well, Mike, both the mother and daughter battling tears as they spoke candidly about the night their lives changed forever. They were walking to the car to go get food, never imagining what would happen next. Heading to the stand in her wheelchair, Janae Edmondson gave the final testimony of the 3-day trial.
I couldn't feel my body at all, like my back, my hips, or anything. I couldn't feel.
The now 18-year-old vividly recalls the moment she got knocked to the ground while walking in downtown St. Louis.
I felt something hit me. Well, I heard my dad screaming, and he was tying something really tight around my legs. I didn't know what it was.
That's when her father started yelling for help and quickly worked to apply a tourniquet to her legs.
You're
God, please don't let her die. That's the first thing I thought.
Janae's mother told the court before the impact, they could hear a roaring engine approach. Janae told her parents to watch out. They tried to get out of the way, but the teenager was struck.
I lay down on the ground on my stomach and I lifted her head up because her face was on the ground. And when I pulled her up, I turned her around. And her eyes were so weak, I didn't know if she was going to make it. I kept telling her, open your eyes, Janae. Keep your eyes open the whole time. I said, don't close your eyes. And the first thing she said was, Mom, I don't feel my legs.
Janae remembers getting into the ambulance and following her mother's advice not to close her eyes, although she couldn't grasp the extent of what was actually happening.
I knew something was wrong, but I didn't know what.
Since last year's crash, the teen graduated from high school with honors. She had to have surgery on her 18th birthday. And although she's not attending the college she received a volleyball scholarship to play for, she's enrolled in another school and serves as a manager on that school's volleyball team.
Prosecutors said in closing statements that it was a miracle that Janae survived the crash. Our legal analyst, Scott Rosenblum, talked to 5 on Your Side tonight about the effects of those emotional impact statements.
I think obviously it's going to have a significant impact. I mean, look, the optics of this case were extraordinarily bad from the beginning. And those optics continue throughout the case. And this is a tragedy that this young lady is going to have to live with the rest of her life. I understand the defense put on a plausible defense, but I don't think it was a defense that was going to carry the day.
Rosenblum told us in a case like this, he would expect a significant sentence. This case set off a chain of events that led to a major shakeup in the St. Louis Circuit Attorney's Office. Our political editor, Mark Maxwell, is here with more on how this case shocked the city and brought major change. Mark.
Mike, the devastating nature of that grisly high-speed crash, then Kim Gardner's defensive deflections to the visceral public response, then the dereliction of duties in her office that snowballed into an avalanche of disappointment in the justice system. All of that added insult to Janae Edmondson's tragic injuries. You add it all together, it quickly became the most toxic, perhaps powerful political story the city has seen in a decade. St. Louis Mayor Tashara Jones quickly distanced herself from Gardner in the aftermath. Republican Attorney General Andrew Bailey demanded her resignation, then kicked off a legal effort to force her out. At first, Gardner refused to leave. Then an effort in Jefferson City would have subjected her to the oversight of a special prosecutor. That was when she finally bowed out.
And we also learned a lot about the inner workings of the prosecutor's office.
Yeah, the glaring spotlight of scrutiny here really revealed just how understaffed they were, how backlogged and demoralized they were in that office, how distracted Kim Gardner was. Daniel Riley was not the only suspect violating the terms of his bond at the time of all this, and Janae Edmondson was not the only victim hurt by someone who Gardner's office failed to prosecute. The whole sobering saga really underscored 3 major things here. 1, who we put in government jobs matters. 2, how elected officials respond in crisis matters. Had Kim Gardner expressed grief or outrage or even determination to hold Daniel Riley or herself accountable, perhaps she might still have her job today. And then 3, solid reporting and public outcry can affect change. Now, Gabe Gore, Governor Parsons' pick for that job, has secured a criminal conviction in a case that, frankly, never should have happened.
We know that Gabe Gore is scheduled to address the press tomorrow morning. But we also know this judge who was involved in this case has been in the weeds before.
Yeah, almost a full circle moment here. This judge who guided the jury through this case, Michael Noble, he was the same judge who delivered that iconic line telling Kim Gardner that her office was a rudderless ship of chaos. Noble was also, people may remember this, he was a finalist to be considered to replace her. And instead he remained on the bench and now has a hand in steering that ship a little closer toward justice.
All right, Mark, thanks very much. And our coverage continues now on KSDK.com. That's where you can watch Janae's entire emotional testimony and victim impact statement. You can also watch it on our YouTube page and on 5 Plus, which is free on Apple, Roku, and Fire TV. You can scan the QR code on your screen and we'll send you a link.